Redditors who have outrun cops. How'd you do it? Hanging out at friend's house when my mom texts me to inform me that my girlfriend is on her way back from college to surprise me. My girlfriend hated this dude, so I didn't tell her I was there and had recently told her I was home. I jump in the car and start flying home on a road I should definitely not be flying on. As God fated, I pass a cop and see him hit his brakes in my rear view. I instinctively floor it over the hill, pull into a parking lot, and cut my lights off. Nighttime. Few seconds pass, and I see him fly by with his woo-woos on. With no time to spare, I pull back out soon after and finish flying home. Run inside, jerk my clothes off, lay on the couch, turn on the TV, and she knocks on the door not 5 seconds later. Mission accomplished. On foot vs cop car. Ran halfway into a residential block through backyards aware that they saw which direction I went. Once they were out of sight, I doubled back and ran half into the block in the opposite direction. Sat quietly in a bush. They circled a few times and left that block. I didn't do anything, just ran when a cop car drove by. I was a bored kid. My time to shine. I was 17 and on my way to a meeting a few towns over. Where I live is so flat you can watch your dog run away for 3 days, so there are often long stretches of road in an open field. I was turning left onto a 2-lane highway when I saw these 2 cars blow past me, going the direction I was going, at least 90 miles per hour. I said, well, let's make this a convoy. I got up to about 120 to catch up to them, and I was about with them when I saw a semi-truck coming in the opposite direction. I thought to myself, man, how boned would I be if there was a cop driving behind that semi? Sure as God's got sandals, there was a cop driving behind the semi. The first 2 cars passed, and I just saw his lights come on as I passed him. I thought, oh fuck, reckless op, jail, I'm going to lose my license, I'm fucked. I start slowing down and reach into my wallet for my license when I see a house coming up on my right on a small side street. There was the house and a 2-car garage off to the side. I slammed on my brakes and took the turn, and I pulled right into this perfect stranger's open garage like I own the place. I get out, shaking, because I'm not out of the woods yet. I walk out of the garage and up to the front door of the house and knock. An old lady answers, and I tell her I'm here to work on my car and asked if Jack was home. All BS. She said no, I'm sorry. I profusely apologized and turned around. Just then I saw the cop fly past the house in hot pursuit of the other 2 cars. I got back into my car and took back roads for the rest of the trip. Don't know if this counts, but my friends and I were busted for being 19 over 20 and drinking at a party. Everyone ran but I hid, and they ended up never finding me. I spent an entire 7 hours pretzeling in a woven basket in a closet, wide awake and slowly sobering. The scariest part was when they started searching said closet right after the bust, and the cop moved clothes from above my head to reveal my hair and still didn't see me. Good times. Running into the woods from a bonfire party. Knew from previously running into the woods where the barbed wire fence was and how to get through it. The cop in the dark did not. He was 15 feet behind me, then 100 feet behind me real fast. Wasn't worth giving me the mip, so he turned back after that. Yeehaw. If he had seen my face, I wouldn't have run. With my car among everyone else's sitting there, I would have felt way too paranoid driving later. On my way to a concert on a motorcycle. I was kinda racing another bike up the highway. Went past a state boy at about 100 miles per hour and jumped off the next exit, the correct exit for the concert. Basically, I was able to get past the line of traffic into the event and scoot around a gate that was closed by riding onto the footpath. Made my way to an area where there was literally 100+ bikes. Ditched my helmet, removed the jacket, and sat on a picnic table while they went around and around and around looking for me. So, not so much outran but outplayed. Thankfully, they never got close enough to read my plate. I got jumped in the middle of town by a bunch of dudes as some sort of gang initiation when I was 14. Afterwards I went to the police station with a broken nose and fucked up jaw. The cop told me it was my fault for the way I was dressed, black jeans and a black band shirt, and it's not his job to solve my problems and I should take matters into my own hands. This cop was a real asshole to every kid out there. One of my friends knew where he lived, so we went and took a shit on his cop car and smashed up a bunch of his panels and windows with a bat. He came out of his house and tried to give chase, but we outran him. Felt good taking matters into my own hands. Cops were coming to bust a party I was at. They arrive and I walk out the front door right past them to my car with a smile and a wave. I drove past the second cruiser on my way out of the neighborhood. Almost half the party got arrested, and the other half ran and got arrested. Riding with a friend to a fight that was about to happen. Friend runs his truck off the road and bends the driver shaft, or something. Continue driving to the fight as the whole truck wobbles. Cops bust the fight and everyone ran, because we were stupid. Jump in the truck and nearly hit a cop car that tries to box us in the parking lot. Pull out and driving down the highway, speed limit 60, doing 40 miles per hour while the truck wobbled. 2 other cars from the fight plus 1 cop pull out and are following behind us. 4-lane highway. No clue why they don't go around us instead of cruising 40. Drive about a half mile till one idiot behind us whips around and starts driving backwards on the highway still on our side of the highway. Cop turns around to follow him. Continue driving about 100 yards and hide out at a gas station for a few minutes before heading back home in the same direction we came from. Wanted level lost. Was in my very fast Mini Cooper 2.0L twin turbos, many custom parts, matte black with gloss black stripes, black rims, and odd. Racing on Stir Road Drive in Boston. I blasted by a statey doing at least 120. His car may match mine in HP, give or take, but I'm half the mass and can handle circles around him. Changed jurisdictions, took the BU bridge heading through Alston to the Brighton Cambridge line, and I see a 4-bay mom and pop car wash. I can hear like 10x the sirens now, so EJ turn in and jump up and pull the gate down. Lucky us, it's tended by a 16-year-old kid we come to find. As we roll around back, I handed him $100 and said to pull the other garage door down and mark this bay out of order with a sign. If the car was still there upon our short return, I'd give him more money. Went to the bar across the street. Had some wings, beers, watched the last 4 innings of a Sox game. Brought the kids some hot wings, a Mountain Dew, and $200 cash upon our return. Drove the car home. No issues. Got off scot-free. Relatively small downtown area. Was coming into town in a 45 miles per hour area and the cop was coming the other way, directly at me. I was probably doing about 20 miles per hour over the limit, and he lit my ass up with a radar gun. He passed me, and I saw him turn around in my rearview mirror and flick on the lights. Generally I would never run, but I was 18, and was one speeding ticket away from losing my license on points. I gunned it, got into town and just weaved through a bunch of side streets, until I was pretty sure I lost him. Here's the kicker, I'm pretty sure I lost him, and now I need to get onto the main highway quickly. I'm sitting at a red light, way I got for the light to turn, and guess who goes right through the intersection in front of me? It was 1 AM or so not many cars on the road. My headlights went right into his car as he went in front of me, enough that I could clearly see the guy. 18-year-old me shit a brick. Cop kept going, and I gunned it to get onto the highway. Worked late at a store when I was 20 something. When I left, I went tearing up the road behind the store. It was curvy, and it was after midnight, thus no traffic. I had a sporty car, and was banging through gears as fast as I could. It was a lot of fun. Unbeknownst to me, there was a sheriff squad car sitting at a bank drive-thru, under the awning. Didn't see him, until I passed him, and it was too late. So I just kept the throttle mashed and raced up the road. At the time, I was living in an apartment complex only about 1/4 up the road from where I passed the cop. I glanced in my mirror and noticed the squad coming up the road after me, but without emergency lights on. I had a really good lead on him. I turn into the drive for my apartment complex and hit the button for the underground parking garage. Door opens, I scoot inside and park, then watch as the door closes all the way. The best part, I get out of my car and walk into the lobby. Through the glass doors, I see the sheriff's squad. The entryway is locked, you have to buzz to get in. There are about 50 apartments, and my car is underground. He was never close enough to get my plate. There's almost zero way this cop can figure out who I am, or what specific apartment I live in. So I waved to him and smiled. The look of frustration and defeat on his face was priceless. Elevator door opened, and for all practical purposes I disappeared before his eyes. My one and only cop story. In 8th grade my friend and I were both crammed on one of those electric razor scooters heading home, and some lady started yelling at us. My friend slowed us down to hear what she was saying. Apparently she was giving us a heads up on a cop that was a block away. We got off the scooter, walked past the cop, and went on our way. TLDR, avoided confrontation altogether. So since there's no official language in the US, you can't be required to speak English. And if you don't speak English, it's incumbent on the courts and police to find a translator. Not too hard for Spanish or French, but when you start branching out even cities have problems. I got pulled at one of those bullshit the highway speed limit is 55, the town speed limit is 25, there's one sign, and the cop is in a bush right behind the sign, money makers that a lot of small towns and rural areas like to use. I was doing 65 like anyone else, so he had me cold doing 40 over. This was in Kentucky near the O-line at about 3 AM. I spent a few years in West Africa, and I happen to be fluent in Moray. I also have a nicely ambiguous name that doesn't automatically lead to must speak English. So even though I have a Rus license, I just decided on the spot to only speak Moray and to acknowledge no English at all. I figured, he wants to write a bullshit ticket, I'll make him work for it. The officer tried his best. I was from a long way out of state. He knew I wasn't coming back to contest it. That ticket was a few $100s for his town. I thought he might just write the ticket and hand it to me anyway, but either he couldn't or wouldn't do it. After 45 minutes of trying to explain, he finally gave up. Didn't even give me a warning. Just handed the paperwork back, said it's fuckers like you that make me hate this fucking job, and went to his car and drove off. To this day, I have no idea if that last comment was just frustration, or if he knew I understood. As a kid, out with friends at night chucking eggs at some person's house*, having a blast, laughing, when we see a car come around the corner, just headlights visible, as it's night. Being brazen little beasts, my friends continue to chuck eggs at the house as I decide to hit the car with an egg. And I did too. Perfect shot. Right, broke right in the center of the windshield. And then the cherries came on. Shit. The call goes out. Oops. And all my friends scatter every which way, running like idiot vandal kids running from the cops. I made a split-second decision and decided not to run. The cops' headlights weren't directly on me, and I was mostly in the dark and wearing dark clothing. So I dropped to the ground, rolled into the ditch, and quickly did my best to cover myself with weeds and grass I uprooted. So the cop car goes driving past me, just crawling so slowly, with the searchlight playing all around. I'm pretty much convinced I'm caught when one of my friends breaks from his hiding place down the street and runs off. The cop car squeals off after him, leaving me safe. I was home, and in bed in my PJs about 5 minutes after that. I ran around an apartment building, and then up 3 flights of stairs, then down the stairs on the other end, and out of the fence across the street into another apt complex. Good thing I got away cause I had coke and Xanax in my pocket. Not mine.